Good evening and welcome to another edition of Sport Desk. I'm your host, Carl Dubs Catliff, and I have my co-host with me, Paul on the ball, and we have a new guest in the studios tonight, and we're talking soccer. We have Andy Bickerton, President for Soccer. Welcome to the show, Andy.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Paul and yourself and JTV for allowing me to come tonight to promote my sport.
Yes. Now, as we go right into it, I've had the opportunity of speaking to Franca. She was a past president. I know there was some situation that fell through with her and that forced you to take over the helm. I think this is about the last leg of 3 or 4 years term. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy around the awarding of the 2018 and 2022 World Cup by FIFA. And as a result of that, there was some problems that arose in the Caribbean Football Union, in which most of the associations were involved. But that's now been finished, so that's over. Franco was suspended from football for 18 months and received a small fine, but so did a lot of other people in the Caribbean. And the news on that, as far as I understand it, is because they didn't cooperate with the investigation. So I'm not aware that there was any funds changing hands as far as the BVI was concerned. And that's really how I came to get involved again, because the administration under the BVI FA Constitution is voted in for 4 years. And so 3 years had gone by before Franca Pickering got her suspension. So they approached me because I had experience. I served as president for 7 years in all before, experience in dealing with FIFA and so on. So it made sense that they brought in somebody with that kind of experience to see through the last year of their administration. So the next voting will be, for the next administration, will be in November 2012.
Okay, for those of you guys who are just checking in with us, show is live tonight. It's been sponsored by Rotan Wholesale, Gatorade, Digicel, and Play to Win. Our numbers are 300-1949 if you want to call us, and our numbers are 300-1950 if you want to text us. Like I said, we're live on air, and you're in the studio with Paul, myself, and Andy. Paul?
Yeah, good evening, Dub, and good evening, Andy, and good evening to you guys at home. Great to be here. Exciting stuff. I always love talking about football because it's so close to cricket, Yeah. I love to talk about that kind of stuff. So, Andy, this is obviously your final year. The 3 years have gone, basically, which you had no control of whatsoever. What has transpired, briefly gone by, and more importantly, your plan for the next year, how does that affect your 1 year that you have?
Well, I think firstly, Paul, what I'd like to say is that when I went over to speak to the executive before I agreed to stand for the election for the final year, I found out that football was actually doing a lot more than I thought they were doing. The main thing seemed to be that they weren't getting enough publicity for that, because the youth program is going very well. They're starting to promote the ladies' football national team competing in the World Cup. There was a lot going on, because having been out of the mainstream of football for a good number of years, I only really saw what was in the newspapers, plus obviously attending the youth program where my grandchildren were playing and watching the occasional men's league game. But I was really surprised at how much they were actually doing. So in terms of this administration, I would congratulate them on what they'd achieved in the 3 years.
Okay.
So Miss Pickering and her team have been doing a real good job. In terms then of the last year, because obviously the programs are continuing, so what's being done is already established, but there are some initiatives that I'm trying to push, particularly in the youth program and the ladies. Because we have a lot of participation in the youth program. In the primary, we've got 436 registered participants, 291 boys and 145 girls. And in the secondary, we've got 130 with 84 boys and 46 girls. So you can see there's a reasonable spread between boys and girls. And the primary program, which Cassandra Gregg mainly runs, where she goes around with her part-time coaches to the public schools mainly, is doing very well. The problem at the secondary level really has been lack of competition, because there's only a limited number of schools.
Right.
You know, you've got the high school, and then you've got Cedar, and then you've got the two schools, Brigado Flats, and there's another one in Virgin Gorda. So one of the things we've been doing is speaking to USVI. And in the last couple of days I've heard back from them, and they're quite happy to include either 2 or 3 of our teams in their league down in St Thomas, which is excellent news, because they'll come down here, we'll go up, and they've got about 2 or 3 teams, so then there'll be 6 teams, and it'll expose our children at the secondary age level to increased competition, and increased competition from overseas, plus a little bit of excitement of travelling down to St Thomas, St John, and then having them come up to us.
And let me ask you, will there be any issues as far as travel documents with some of the kids? Because I know a lot of the kids are of mixed nationality. Yeah,
we're looking at that. I spoke to Vincent Samuel, the coach, today, and he doesn't think that's going to be a major problem. The majority of the youngsters at secondary level are either British Virgin Islanders or people that will have visas.
Okay, that's good. I've also noticed that so far you guys have managed to send 3 young nationals, 3 young players actually off to school, which is, I need to congratulate you guys on that.
Yeah, we're really pleased about that. We managed to get a young lady off to college in 2003, and she did a 2-year degree in IT and came back, but this is the first time the FA's managed to get males away. And the initiative was taken on that by Ricky Davis after the World Cup games last year, because he recognized that the USVI had a number of players that were at college, and they in competing against the BVI, you could recognize they had a little bit more experience and were a bit more savvy, if you like, in playing the game. And so as a result of that, we've now got 3 young men who actually arrived at college in Kansas last weekend. That's Trevor Peters, Chris Telemark and Joel Foy, all members of the national team. And they're joining a college that's done very well at their level of football. They won the national championship last year, so it's going to be tough for them to break into that team, but at the same time, if it's competitive, it's really going to push them in terms of standards. So we are excited about that. And having achieved that, we're not saying that's it for the time being. We're still looking for others that we're going to try and find places for overseas.
I think you're definitely going in the right direction, because that's the point I was going to make. When I interviewed the St Thomas team, the coach actually said that they were where we were 6 or 7 years ago, but then they actually took their youngsters and sent them overseas. So we're actually, no, we followed that pattern, and we're doing the exact same thing, which is the way to go. And that's actually excellent, Carl.
So that's not reinventing the wheel, that's just following the spin of the wheel.
And that's the way to do it. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. I mean, if somebody's been successful before, you follow that pattern.
Now guys, once again, if you're joining us, we're live here at JTV. Our numbers to call are 300-1949 and 300-1950 if you want to get in on a conversation. We're talking soccer right now, and in the studios is the president. He came in late in the game, but he's holding his weight.
So, well, actually, a lot of the talk went on before we started. I mean, we got some exciting talks that we can't even talk about, right? We spoke about access to the FIFA money. We're talking about that FIFA gold money. What's that all about? And can you explain to the listening audience how that works?
Yeah, when President Blatter came in 1996, one of his platforms was that because there was so much money involved now from the television rights for the World Cup, which FIFA benefits from, they were going to hand out, at that particular time, it was $1 million a year to each association, partly to finance the association and partly in capital projects. And over the years, BVI is now one of 4 or 5 countries out of about 200 that have not taken advantage of gold money, because it's always been very difficult here to find, the grounds, or if you like, the actual land itself, because FIFA's quite strict in terms of its rules, because if they're going to provide funding to purchase land and build a facility, they're insistent that the local FA has to have control over that.
Correct.
And obviously the AO Shirley is available for everybody on at all the sports.
That's another topic.
No, actually, we can go ahead, Andy. We can get into it a bit.
Anyway, so we are actually in talks right now with the Premier's office, because it seems with the change of government there's been a rejuvenation of renovating the AO Shirley, and I'm hoping, because I have to be in Zurich in February, I'm hoping that when I go I'll be able to persuade FIFA to see the benefit of the BVIFA participating in the future development of the AO Shirley, because right now we rent facilities. We have our own offices, and we have our storeroom and our conference room. Obviously, if we can be situated in the AO Shirley, we're going to save that money. So it's much better to pay that money in mortgage than it is whatever.
How would that work, though? Can that work? I mean, both Carl and I have been involved in track and field. A lot of things happening on the ground. Can that be with that? Would we be able to blend with the association, with the athletic association, or if anybody from the association?
Are there any talks right now pertaining to that same statement?
The impression I get from the meetings that I've attended is it's not to do with the actual facility and the using of the facility, like the track and the field. What it's to do with is assisting in the building of stands and rooms which can be used for administration and storage and so on. So obviously, from our point of view, as I say, we'd be saving rent, and it would also
as far as storage and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, because I know the grounds, when track and field is occupying it, they use it for like javelin and throwing and stuff like that. Would that damage your area for playing?
I think the concern more is we would damage track and field area.
and that's my other question. The ground, when FIFA came here the last time, the main concern was the condition of the ground. Surely, if you're going to make that your home, that ground is going to have to be literally redone. I don't know, relayed. I don't know how it will be done, because it's very uneven. We see that it's actually our background here today.
Yes, I mean, the actual surface itself needed more money spending on it when it was first put down.
Right.
And obviously, the territory, as everybody else in the world, has been going through difficult times financially. But that would be one of the things that we'd be looking for assistance, I think, from government with, in terms of improving that surface so that we can hold international games. But I think also what I'd like to see is that we can actually find a facility somewhere else where we would actually then build facilities there to do training with both national team and youth team players, and have a playing facility there, and then we would only actually need to use the surface at the AO Shirley for the big games.
Tell me, talking about big game there, let me ask Andy one quick question. Tell me about you mentioned the seating. How would you, in your mind, improve the seating as to what it is now for football?
Well, from the plans that I'd seen, there's an additional seating that's going in.
In different phases.
Yeah, so it's in the next phase.
Which is where?
No, it's in the same area, because right now it's only phase one of the seating that has been done. But my question is, Andy, are you saying that your organization is willing to pump money into redoing AO Shirley seating and stuff like that, where the government doesn't have to come out of their pocket to do that?
In very short terms, yes. But we've got to get this past FIFA.
Oh, right.
Okay,
so they have the last say.
Right. FIFA will have the last say because it's their money.
Right.
Obviously, then but I think if we go around it the right way, we should be able to get it done. Because if there's a stand being built with facilities underneath, and we can get some kind of security, this is the FA, can get some kind of security over those facilities, I would be hopeful then we can convince FIFA that it makes sense.
Because Paul, I think the idea of the stand is to wrap it right around the stadium. My only concern is for years now we've been having that building there, and I think that building needed to be licked down a long time ago. I don't know how we can take it away where it was going.
But my other concern, of course, is right on the far side by where the basketball court is. When it was actually, before it was built, my question was, at the time, it was still a cricket ground. The track wasn't there. How are they going to make the seating? And I was told at that time that they're actually going to bring seats off the back wall of the basketball facility, so they're seating, and that seating will come around and then
on the underscore of that seating too would have been where you can access the gym or whatever you wanted to use it. I think that was the initial idea. So if I'm correct and you're correct, that's the idea that we're trying to look at. So the decision will now be made between track and field and football.
Well, I mean, the other thing I just remembered that I hadn't mentioned is that we would also have changing facilities in there for the teams when they came to play.
I think that's the same plan.
Right. Just a text coming in. Again, we want to thank you for sending your texts in, and of course, the number to send a text card is 300-1950.
That's correct.
And the person hasn't given their name, but they said that they're glad to see you back at the helm, and they wish for you to revive the sport. So here's the man that's bringing life back into football. So but
based on what Andy was saying already is that the past president has been doing a good job. He's just trying to maintain
based on what Andy's saying, I'm just saying this person was quite specific. They use the word revive. So from this person's perspective, Andy is the man here. That obviously that person feels there's a lot more that needs to be done. Would you say, Andy, there's a lot more that needs to be done?
Well, firstly, I'd like to say thank you very much for the person that sent the text.
Are you paying them, eh?
Well, maybe it was my wife.
That's why she didn't get her name.
But yes, what I said earlier was that the present administration were doing a lot of good things that weren't getting out.
Sure.
This getting the linking up with the USVI, these kind of things, is moving that a little bit along. And I think I'm hopeful that the experience that I have in the sport, I can bring in some of these things and push it along. Because a couple of the other things in my previous term that was very successful back in the late 90s was we used to do an Easter program at Josiah's Bay where we did a five-a-side, and it ran all day, and that was very well attended. We used to do youngsters up until about 3 and then adults, and so we're working on getting that back in for Easter. And then futsal, which is this indoor soccer that they're playing worldwide now. I'm trying to get an initiative going on that where we establish a business league played in the evenings. Obviously, we've got to establish what facility we would use to do that.
Right. I think I might be able to give you a hand on that later on.
Tell us now, the public want to hear now, right? We have a caller. Okay, we have a caller. Good evening, Sports Talk. Go right ahead, please.
What's this?
Sports Desk. I always say thank you. Hello. Good. Go right ahead. You're live on Sports Desk, that's correct.
Yeah, this is President.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Mr. Bickerton, I'd like to find out why when the woman and them practice, they have them on the side of the road looking right after 8 and 9 in the night. And we have 2 buses.
Okay, that's it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's interesting question there. Andy, you're responsible for the woman now. Let's hear it. You're on the hot seat.
Now, when I came in, I said I wanted to see more being done for the women.
Sure.
But that's an issue that I wasn't aware of, so it'll have to be an issue to follow up.
Sure.
Because probably the point is that a lot of the women that play football are of school age, and I would imagine, I don't know, but I would guess that's probably
from what I've seen so far, it seems that way.
Okay. Right. So that's something I'll have to follow up and find out about.
All right.
Because obviously we do have transportation, and if people need rides, it needs to be organised.
Right. I mean, I can probably just jump the gun, not being on their source from the outside, and say that I would assume, Carl, that there would be somebody there who would be responsible, because they're drivers. I mean, I always see Cassandra Gregg and all the people who are always driving the buses up and down. I mean, not just frivolously, but I pass them, so I would assume that there would be somebody there who had that responsibility to ensure that these young girls get home. Because if it was my daughter and she's going to play football and it's 9 o'clock and she's not back home, what I'm going to say is, well, I'm going to say you ain't going back. Right. That's what I'm going to say. You ain't going back. Yeah. So, and that's not what we want. So obviously, I want to thank the caller, because obviously we brought it to the president's attention, and it'll be done.
I also want to say too, I utilize the track just about almost every day, and I'm glad to see that there's a lot of youngsters that be out there every day. doing their training and stuff, and there's a lot of girls do. You know, I'm surprised to see so much girls out there. And of course, they're, like you said, they're about school age. Some of them probably just got out of school. But a situation like that really needs to be addressed also.
Right, because the men's league is running at the moment, but at the end of February we're going to be starting a ladies' league, where the games will be played before the men's game. We think it's probably going to be 7-a-side because we need to get as many teams as we can so that it's a competitive league.
Would you be in charge of mixing the teams, or you have coaches in charge of mixing the teams?
No, there'll be coaches in charge of the teams. I think that most of the coages are going to be affiliated with the men's clubs.
Okay, folks, you have a text?
I just got a quick text. I'd like to deal with them straight away as fast as I can. Maybe the caller, the person that text, can give me some more information as to what they mean, and they might catch on. They said, inform all the trust companies. Inform the trust companies about what? What do you think they mean, Andy? I'm not too sure. Could you give us another text and sort of elaborate on that? Inform the trust companies. I mean, for sponsorship, for giving for transportation for the young girls.
Just a piece of that text didn't get in there.
Inform the trust companies. No, that's the end of it. There's nothing else. So, if they can let us know, inform the trust companies about what?
Right.
Yeah. Sorry. Go right ahead.
No, Andy was just making a point a while ago, Paul. I know you had some information that's written down that we wanted to touch. But before we get back into that, guys, I think it's a time that we take a break in this. And guys, we'll be taking a break, and we'll be right back from a word from our sponsors. You're tuned into the Sports Desk.
Hi, I am Tanisha Harrigan-Scott, and I am here to bring you some exciting news from Digicel. Now you can talk more and text more for only $15. A great new price plan from Digicel, the bigger, better network. Have you heard? When you top up $15 or more, you get incredible deals with Digicel. Get 100 free minutes, unlimited SMS, and free weekends for 7 days to local Digicel numbers. Top up $15 again, and it will automatically be extended for another 7 days. For more information, drop by our store or visit our website at www.digicelbbi.com. Digicel terms and conditions apply.
Being number one always feels great. Nagico Insurances is number one in insurance in the British Virgin Islands because we've made serving you our number one priority. We provide the best customer service, and most importantly, our highly qualified team provides you with the very best in insurance advice to protect you, your family, and your business. Here are a few facts to keep in mind. Nagico is the largest provider of general insurance, is the number one auto insurance provider. Nagico has the fastest growing medical insurance portfolio, has the most qualified group of insurance personnel to advise you on your insurance needs, and Nagico makes year-round contributions to education, community projects, and sports in the British Virgin Islands. Be protected by team number one. Nagico Insurance's British Virgin Islands. Call today at 494-6433. We've got you covered.
For all your health, fitness, sports, and related apparel needs, visit Play to Win Sports Store on the 3rd floor of the Chevelle Building, right across from the Sunday Morning Well. We specialize in basketball, baseball, and softball, volleyball, soccer, track and field, sport fitness supplements, shoes, underwear by Fruit of the Loom, Hanes, t-shirts, and much more. Call us Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 494-2071 for your special orders on uniforms and equipment. And join us as we play to win, to win, to win, to win.
Welcome back to the Sports Desk. Once again, I'm your host. I'm joined here with my co-host, Paul Nabal Hewlett, and I have Andy Bickerton with us for soccer. But before we go back into it, I have a couple of announcements. One of them is the Cutting Edge Gym is offering a special fitness class for plus-size persons, both male and female. You have to be 200 pounds or over in order to join this class, I was told. If you're interested, the numbers to call are 544-0480. 541-7541. That's again the Cutting Edge Gym is offering a special fitness class or special fitness classes for plus size persons, both male and female. You have to be over 200 pounds or more and serious about losing weight in order to join this class. The numbers are 544-0480 for information, or 541-7541. Also, I want to announce that the BVI Track and Field Association is having their second development meet on the 28th of January at the A.O. Shirley Grounds at 10 a.m. If you guys are interested in seeing some track and field, you guys can show up to that. Also, softball is having their elections that's coming up pretty soon. I think it's this week, Paul, sometime this week or next week. And as we're talking soccer, the BVI Soccer Association has now started their annual soccer league. So if you guys are interested, what days are those, Andy?
They're going to be on Saturdays. They're playing on Saturdays and Sundays.
Was there a night game?
We've been playing games on Wednesday evenings, but those games are going to move to Sunday because that's when most people come out to support.
Okay, there you have it, guys. Also, the BVI Hoop It Up Foundation is starting back their books and basketball after school program. It starts on Monday 23rd. If you guys want to sign up your kids, you can call Steve or you can call myself and get your kids signed up, or you can let the school know and we drop off some forms for you. So there you have it, guys. Some of the announcements that we have, and we'll get right back into soccer.
The first announcement you made was for what size, you said?
Plus size.
Plus size.
Plus size, not plus 5.
No. I think I actually just qualified for that, so
so you over 200 pounds?
I went to the scale this morning or something. I don't know, maybe the scale wasn't working right, or I don't know. But
I'll say this much, for classes of that nature, Paul, we start slow.
Slow, okay. So I'll be fine. And then I can join the classes. We both over 200 pounds. Listen, we just got a text in. I don't think it's directly specifically to football. Let me make that clear to you, Andy. But I like this text, and I would like us to talk about it for 1 minute very quickly. It says here, we need to cut out the ganja smoking under the stands. Now, I wasn't even aware that was going on.
And which stands is this now?
Well, I guess he means there's only one stand we have. At the
A.O. Shirley Grounds?
At the A.O. Shirley Grounds. Those kids are going underneath.
Remember now we have stands and softball and stuff too, you know, so.
Well, no, they're talking about the A.O. Shirley Grounds.
Okay, well,
I presume the person that sent the text is referring to the A.O. Shirley Grounds. He says, under those main stands, the kids are going under there. And I don't know if it's something where we have to let the police know or what. Well, but if they're going under there and smoking.
If it is so, I think we're in the right position right now to make a
that's my point.
Because I'm not even aware of it, and I'm out there every day.
Right. And if it's something which is happening on a regular basis, we have young kids coming in to play sports, people are underneath, they use that as an avenue to smoke ganja, and the young kids get attracted to anything just because they're inquisitive. This is something which I think we really need to look at and take very seriously. I think it's totally out of order and totally unacceptable for somebody to go on a sports ground and smoke ganja. Period.
And if anybody's listening to this, especially the law, you guys could every now and then take a pass and check for yourself, because like I said, I'll be there every day and I haven't seen it, and this is what's going on. I think it needs to be addressed immediately.
I'll be calling Maltman. Maltman, I hope you're listening. I'll be coming to see you. We're going to look for these ganja smokers and deal with them. What do you say, Andy?
Absolutely.
Certainly, I'm sure you as a football wouldn't be happy to know that your kids are being associated with that.
No, absolutely not. And one of the things we've been talking about is security for the games. So we should have police officers on duty for the remainder of the games this year. So hopefully that wouldn't happen while the actual soccer's on, but maybe they're talking about when youngsters are training. I don't know.
No, Andy, one of the questions I had for you was some of the difficulties that you face in soccer right now. Can you explain that out?
Well, I think the major difficulty that soccer has, and it's probably the same difficulty that most sporting associations have in the BVI, is just plain lack of facilities. you know, you've got a whole bunch of people trying to use the AO Shirley, and I think the cooperation is quite reasonable in terms of using the facilities there. But you know, we as an association clearly need our own facilities. Not to say that we wouldn't share those facilities with others. I mean, for example, rugby could use the BVIFA facilities because it fits in quite nicely. Track and field could do the same. Because really in a small location like this we have to cooperate with one another, but the point is we lack facilities.
But have you seen anywhere besides the AO Shirley Recreation Ground where you guys think you can put in another facility for soccer?
Well, the East End facility was basically closed for development a good while ago, and that was a facility that football had been using, which we would like to see complete.
That's in the Long Look area by the Greenland?
Yeah, okay. Greenland Field. Yes. And cricket are also using that, I think, Paul.
Absolutely.
And that's a Paul's field.
I'm glad you didn't mention the horse track, because that's where everybody used to be like to me before, and the fellas get quite aggressive. Listen, a few more texts coming in. Let me just read one or two very quickly, and then we can come back to some more. I got a bunch from my daughter saying, "Hi Dad, nice to see you online." So hi, come on, I got it. I got the text. I can't bypass that one, right, Andy? And Andy's grandson is in, so Andy, you got to say hello to your grandson as well. And somebody says, "It's nice to see the association sent guys off to college to further their studies and improve their playing." My question is not going down. My question is, what is in store for the females that has also been playing for years and also have talent?
Well, the interesting thing is we've got one young lady that's down in St. Lucia at the moment studying at Monroe College, and she came to us for a grant, so it's less than the guys because she'd already sorted herself out, so we're helping her. But when I was in before, in 2003, when Amanda went off, I would certainly hope that we'd be able to get in touch with that college again and see if we can get them interested in some of our girls, because in the 2 years after that they offered a scholarship to Diane O'Neill, who actually didn't take it up because she went off to a major college in the States, and then in the third year they offered another scholarship, which didn't work out because of the educational needs. But we're certainly going to be looking at opportunities for ladies, that's for sure.
Okay, no, just that the person that text earlier explained, I think Andy was kind of right there. He said, get the trust companies to arrange taking their team back home. So if a trust company sponsors a team, get that trust company, I presume what the person is saying, to provide transportation. Another person says zero tolerance to drugs. No, they wanted this point to be made. I got to make zero tolerance. We have a call? Okay, right. Zero tolerance to drugs. We have a call. Good evening, Sports Desk. I'm Paul the Ball along with the main man, Dubs Catliff, and we have Andy Bickerton. Go right ahead, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just calling to find out what's going on with the cricket.
You called if I was going on. Okay, all right. Thank you. We'll try to address that. I think we have to take it on a different program, because this isn't really a cricket show. We need 2 hours for that, really.
Because that's something I just wanted to make mention too that our next show is supposed to be involved in cricket, so we're certainly going to get a guys from cricket.
Actually, yes, we are trying to get Sean Mohammed, who is the president. Right. We are going to ensure. We'll find somebody from cricket and get them here next week. So I hope the producers back there listening. Producer, it's confirmed. We're doing cricket next week. No, I'm still going to remain as a co-host, but we certainly need to find out again what's going on with cricket. It's important. And remember again, zero tolerance to drugs. Right? Yeah. Right. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. All right. Somebody asked what happened to the horse race discussion, but that's supposed to be next.
The horse race again. Yeah. No, Andy. One of my questions is again too is how far can somebody who's playing soccer go? I mean, as far as British Virgin Islands standards, I mean, how far can they get? Because I know,
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I don't know whether the audience knows, but Antigua's been making great strides. They have formed a professional football team in Antigua, which I actually only recently learned is being funded by the Antigua FA. and they're competing in the A-League, which is the top division below the MLS in the US, and doing reasonably well. But the most important point about it is the majority of that team are making up the Antigua national team, and for the first time the Antigua national team have qualified for the next stage of World Cup, which is a real big deal because Trinidad are out. Yes. You know, Trinidad, who've gone all the way to the finals, are out, but Antigua and Guyana are both through to the next stage, and that's a good example of what can be achieved. The question that you asked me is, you know, from a BVI point of view, how far are we away from that? I have to be very frank, I think we're quite a long way away from that. Obviously, it should be something that we're aiming for. I don't think we're going to be significantly successful in terms of progressing to the later stages of the World Cup until we do that.
Okay, hold on, I think we have a call online.
Wasn't a call, it was a text, I'm sorry. Andy's kids are killing me. When they said my daughter's dad, it was Andy's daughter's dad. Andy, I've been taking you're taking the credit. So it was not my daughter's, it was Andy's daughter's. My daughter, why are my daughters calling? Why are Andy's daughters calling? My daughters are calling. Okay. And listen, another person said keep the good work. Please advertise football matches more, especially in Virgin Gorda.
That's a topic we're about to jump on right now.
Well, the person is right in my mind. He says, tell the public there is football in Virgin Gorda this coming Sunday. Okay, please, Andy, please tell the people.
Yeah, I think one of the areas that the BVIFA needs to improve on is obtaining sponsorship and getting more publicity for the sport, because you remember I made that point earlier about when they called me in to chat about me getting involved again. I had no idea they were doing some of the things they were doing because there was no publicity. And so what we've got to try and work really hard on is to get more publicity for the association. Right. We've now hired a public relations consultant who's now getting the articles and whatever into the newspaper. But you know,
that's not Paul, is it?
No, it's not. I'm afraid.
No, they didn't hire me. I'm available.
They didn't hire you.
We're available.
Of course. But that was a topic that we were speaking about before the break, where Virgin Gorda has a lot going on in soccer, and they have a great turnout. And you said one of the reasons was because of the mixed population over there, and it's a smaller setting and less competition with the other sports, which makes a lot of sense.
Well, VG has always been huge. I mean, VG basketball with Trevor West Stevens recently, huge
turnouts,
huge massive crowds, great participation. Again, football is the same thing. So I mean, Virgin Gorda deserve their props. Virgin Gorda
again too, like we were just stating, it has a lot to do with the coordination of the sports. They're not overlapping like how we have 5-6 different sports down here overlapping. You know?
Yeah, so, very good point.
You know,
let me go on.
I think what we need to do as associations is try to place a calendar where we don't be having so much of that overlapping, and everybody can get a fair chance of watching the competition.
Before Andy makes his point, let me just quickly say, a person says, hey guys, what preparation BVIFA has for more students getting a soccer scholarship? I think we can touch on that already, but we can sort of come back and see. He's asking, besides the 3, are there any more?
It's an ongoing program. So it's not just that we sent 3 away and that's it. Okay. This is a continual thing. What we're looking for is people that are serious about studying and hitting the books and doing well academically, and also have got a keen interest in soccer. Having all these youngsters coming through the primary and hopefully in the future the secondary program, we can't just drop them and say once you've come through those programs, that's it.
Right.
We've got to be able to provide them with the opportunity to go away, get themselves an education, and at the same time improve the standard of our national team. Because it brings me back to Carl's point. How far can BVI go in terms of competing regionally in competitions like World Cup and the Digicel Cup?
Absolutely.
And until we can progress to getting a good number of youngsters away and building the standard, then we have to build the following. Right. Once we get a following, then I think you can start looking at the possibility of maybe getting some paid players into the league. Because the point that you made earlier is that not all those players playing in Antigua in the league there are from Antigua. Some are from other countries, so they're obviously being paid to play in Antigua.
Absolutely, yeah. I was in Antigua recently, went to a local league, and I was absolutely shocked. They were, in every single game that I saw, they were overseas players playing. You know, there was a goalkeeper from Santo Domingo playing in the league. There was one that came out of the States. I don't know who is paying it and how it's being done. I mean, and they can probably tell me better than that, how they're gonna, how do we finance that sort of thing? And I mean, when we look across the board, Dub, in sports, you know, how do we finance people being professional sports players in the BVI? I mean, and they don't know how you would deal with it from the BVI Football Association perspective.
It's difficult. I think, you know, when you have an athlete, it's somewhat easier. I think you can find it's easier to find a sponsor for that athlete because it's one person, it can be concentrated, and the sponsor can generate good publicity from it if they go about it the right way. Obviously, you know, you have to play it hand in hand with the major sponsor of events. But when you actually come to a team sport like soccer, it's more difficult. Perhaps there is the possibility that, you know, if there's a particularly good young player, either male or female, with the opportunity to go away, you could actually find a sponsor for that, for that person. But as I say, you know, it's sort of, you know, it's getting it started. I'm looking at this, you know.
Guys, I think we've come to that time where we're on a timing of the clock, and so. I think you have something coming in, Paul?
No, but somebody just said, there was a general comment, they said that they can play soccer and they would love to play for a team. I guess they're asking, how can I get onto a soccer team? They can play soccer. They're here, I mean, what do they do? What's the procedure, Andy, to get onto a soccer team?
Join the team.
Yeah, if it's a male person that wants to join a team, the best thing I would suggest, they don't know anybody that's involved with football, is to give the BVIFA office a call, and you'll be put in touch with a number of the teams to see if you'd be interested in playing for them. If it's ladies, even if you don't have a team, I think you can turn up to the AO Shirley Field, because, as I say, we're preparing for a league that's going to start at the end of February, so it's a very opportune time if you're a lady and you want to play soccer, to turn up to the AO Shirley Field, where there is coaching of ladies going on right now.
Right. So two questions is, for the males, you say they can call. Who do they call? Is the number in the book? And for the females, what days are the practices on the AO Shirley grounds?
Well, the number to call for the BVIFA is 494-5655, and that's actually in the telephone.
It's in the
telephone directory. I can't give you the information on which days the girls are training. But if it's a lady, if she calls that number, we can
also give that information.
Okay, guys. Like again, once again, we're on a wrap-up stage. So, Andy, if you have any last words you want to add in there, any information you want to give to the general public besides your games that are being played right now, go ahead.
Yes, I'd like the public to come out and support the teams. There's some good football being played, and the more people there are, the better the atmosphere, and I think it helps to improve the standard. We need as much support as possible in trying to find facilities for not just our sport but all sports in the BVI, and I really would give a real plug on that to any members of government that might be listening, that we really do need to get a plan going in terms of developing our facilities here in the BVI.
Paul?
I just want to big up VG, really. VG massive. I love you guys to death. They have Sunday.
Yes.
When is their next game after Sunday? Nobody said. What days are the Virgin Gorda games played?
The Virgin Gorda games are normally on Sunday.
So every Sunday, Virgin Gorda basketball massive. Love you guys to death.
Soccer.
What did I say?
Basketball.
I said basketball.
At least you didn't say cricket.
What team was in my mind? Hey, West. Big up to the West and the boys.
I'd just like to thank you, Andy, again for coming through. Anytime you have any opportunity you want to express. With the station, any information that you want related, like I said, do announcements every now and then. You're welcome to come through anytime or send the information with your public relation officer. And I want to thank you, the viewing listeners, for giving us the opportunity to come in your homes again This time we had soccer. But don't go anywhere because we have horse racing that's coming up. We have to talk about the Triple Crown.
You didn't say next.
That's coming up next. And, you know, Paul and I, we have some great information in there. Once again, Andy, we'd like to thank you.
Thank you very much
for coming through. Paul?
Can I just say one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
I'd just like to say hello to my
kids. You better have said that.
He'll probably be sitting up waiting for me to say hello, Azani.
Okay. Azani, yes.
What about the granddaughters?
Well, I've got other granddaughters and grandsons, but there's too many of them.
Too many to mention.
Okay. Now, guys, this has been another edition of the Sports Desk. Like I say, stay tuned. We're going to be right back with horse racing. Our numbers are still the same, 300-1949 if you want to call, and 300-1950 if you want to text. I think you have something you want to say.
We really need to thank Roton Wholesale for the two teams in the league.
Oh, they're sponsored by Roton Wholesale. Again, Roton Wholesale. We also like to thank Roton Wholesale. They have been one of our major sponsors on Gatorade. We have a Play to Win, and we have Digicel. I'm still waiting to get my phone from. Did you get your phone from Digicel yet, Paul?
I don't know, but I'm actually drinking I'm drinking my drink for Roton Wholesale. That's what I'm focusing on.
Okay, guys. Once again, this is another edition, and we'd like to thank you guys. We'll see you next week.